Okay, so let's unpack this. Yesterday was a massive day in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, a full slate of games, and, it really ran the gamut.
Totally. From like decisive blowouts that really send a message
Right.
to those incredibly tense finishes, the kind that keep you on the edge of your seat.
It definitely painted a vivid picture of the league's competitive landscape, didn't it?
It really did. Every pitch, every swing.
Every out. It all adds another layer to that unfolding story, contenders, hopefuls.
Absolutely. And our mission today, diving into the material we have, is really to go beyond just the final scores.
Hmm.
We want to understand what these specific outcomes really tell us about the teams involved, like where they stand right now.
And what it says about baseball itself, that dynamic nature.
Exactly. Think of this deep dive as kind of your shortcut to getting a solid grasp of yesterday's action. We're pulling the key insights straight from the analysis here.
Right. Figuring out what truly matters from a packed day like that.
So where do we even start? There's a lot here.
Well, looking at the results, one thing that kind of jumps out is the doubleheader situation.
Yeah.
The Miami Marlins facing off against the Washington Nationals. And the Marlins had a seriously impressive day taking both games.
And the way they won them is interesting. Game one was what, a slugfest? High scoring, 11-9.
Yeah, that kind of game often suggests, hitters were locked in, or maybe the pitching on both sides was just tested.
Right. But then game two, they turn right around and win a tight one, 4-3.
Exactly. Winning a doubleheader is tough enough, right?
Certainly.
Physically, mentally.
For sure.
But winning one game like a shootout and the other as a low-scoring grind, that really shows versatility.
It does.
It points to a team's resilience, their ability to win in completely different ways. Power and precision.
That kind of versatility is huge over a long season. A real indicator.
Definitely.
And speaking of teams making statements, we saw some pretty impressive sweeps yesterday, too. Stuff that certainly sent messages.
Oh, absolutely. The Philadelphia Phillies, for instance, sweeping the Toronto Blue Jays.
Yeah, they kicked that off with a really comprehensive 8-0 shutout.
Wow. When a pitching staff can just completely silence a lineup like Toronto's.
And the offense gives them plenty of run support.
Yeah, that's a clear statement right there.
And then they followed it up with a much tighter win, 3-2.
Which tells you, okay, they don't just blow teams out. They can buckle down, close the door when the game's tight.
Mm-hmm. Taking two from a strong AL team like the Jays, that sweep definitely speaks volumes about where Philly's at right now.
For sure. Then over in the AL, you had the Baltimore Orioles continuing their strong run. They swept the Angels.
Right. Their first game was super tight, 2-0.
Classic strong pitching, timely hitting, low-scoring affair.
Then the next one was more back and forth, 6-5.
Yeah. Winning those close games, whether it's a pitcher's duel or like an offensive seesaw, that's often what defines a successful season, right?
It really is.
It highlights that mental toughness, the crucial late-game execution.
And the Atlanta Braves, they also put on a show, sweeping the Rockies. More offensively, maybe.
Yeah, game one was a 12-4 rout. That score just screams, the Braves' powerful lineup overwhelmed Colorado's pitching.
Simple as that sometimes.
And they backed it up with a solid 4-1 victory. So that combination shows, okay, they can consistently score runs, and they have the strong pitching to keep opponents from really mounting a comeback.
Consistent threat.
Yeah.
What about the Astros? They swept the Twins.
Yeah, another good example. They showed a similar blend, actually.
Okay.
They had a 10-3 win, offense clearly clicking, but then they followed it with a tight 3-2 win, more of a pitching battle.
So they can do both, too.
Exactly. Sweeping a team like the Twins, that's no small feat. It just reinforces Houston's status as a top contender. They can win in multiple ways.
Okay, so we have those dominant sweeps. But looking through the results, other teams also managed to take both games, maybe less dramatically, but still showing that consistency.
Right, that ability to close out a series, like the Tampa Bay Rays against the Mets.
Yeah, 7-5 and 8-4.
So maybe not shutouts, but those are solid, consistent wins, shows the Rays can generate offense and, generally keep opponents at bay.
And the Texas Rangers, they took both from the White Sox, 3-1 and 5-4.
Yeah, that 3-1 win, strong pitching, clutch hitting, that feels like the kind of win you often see from championship contender.
Mm-hmm. Grind it out.
And then the closer 5-4 game just reinforces that ability to win the tight ones, close out a series. Those are crucial wins for them.
But, baseball isn't always about sweeps or dominance. One of the things these daily results really hammer home is how unpredictable it can be.
Oh, absolutely. We saw some really unpredictable splits yesterday, teams just trading blows.
That Reds and Tigers series feels like a perfect example. Those scores were wild.
Totally. Tigers win big, 11-5, then the Reds come back the next day and just blow them out, 11-1.
Wow.
That kind of reversal, it often points to how much pitching matchups can matter, right? Or maybe one team just made some huge adjustments overnight.
Could be. We also saw a split between Oakland and Kansas City.
Right. The A's took game 1, 6-4.
But then the Royals bounced back strong. A 4-0 shutout in Game 2.
Yeah, getting shut out one day and then dealing a shutout the next. That really highlights the ebb and flow, even in matchups that maybe don't grab the biggest headlines.
And in the NL Central, always competitive, St. Louis and Milwaukee split.
Yep. A tight 3-2 win for the Brewers first, like exactly the kind of nail-biter you expect from that division.
Always close.
Then the Cardinals responded, 8-5 win. Showed they could put runs on the board when needed. Results like that, they definitely keep those divisional races interesting. Stops one team running away with it.
And you can't really talk about a packed baseball day without hitting the classic rivalries.
But never. Got to talk about Yankees and Red Sox.
And they delivered a familiar script, didn't they? Boston won a narrow 2-1 game.
Yep. That score just perfectly captures it, that low-scoring, intense nature that defines the rivalry.
A quintessential ALE showdown. Every run, every out just feels magnified.
Totally. And out west, you have the Giants taking on the Dodgers.
Giants got the win there, 6-2.
Yeah, and winning against a powerful rival like the Dodgers is always significant for San Francisco.
Shows they can hang.
Right. Shows their ability to compete with the top teams in their division, maybe disrupt that expected narrative a bit.
Okay, so just to round out the day, the material mentioned a few other notable results too, right?
Yeah.
Across the league.
Yeah, just hitting a few others. Arizona Diamondbacks got a 5-1 win over the Padres.
Okay.
Analysis points to strong pitching, offense creating a comfortable margin. That's always a positive sign for a team.
In Seattle.
Mariners had a convincing 7-2 win over the Guardians. Suggests, strong pitching, productive offense. It all came together for them yesterday.
Nice. And Cubs Pirates.
Cubs edged them out 2-1. Classic low-scoring NL Central game.
Seems like a theme.
Yeah, a game like that, it often comes down to just one run. Maybe some late-inning heroics, maybe even a single defensive mistake making the difference.
Okay, so we've kind of walked through the individual results from yesterday. But pulling back, looking at it all together, what does this packed day tell us about the bigger picture, the season so far?
Yeah, this is where the analysis gets really interesting, I think. Beyond just the numbers, right? Each game is described as like a microcosm, a small example of the human effort, the strategy.
The pursuit of victory you see league-wide.
Exactly. And these daily results, they aren't just isolated things. They stack up. They contribute to a team's momentum or lack thereof over the whole long season.
Right, that cumulative effect.
Think back to that Marlins doubleheader sweep we talked about. Yeah. That's not just 2 W's on the board. It's a testament to a team's depth. Can the players actually handle 2 games in one day?
Physically, mentally.
Can they recover? And can they execute under different conditions? Winning a blowout and a tight one, that versatility.
That's what separates teams.
That's often what separates the pretenders from the real contenders, yeah. It builds genuine character, confidence, too.
And what about those dominant sweeps? The Phillies, the Braves, the Astros.
Well, that level of dominance, especially when it's against good opponents, it isn't just about talent. It reflects a team's ability to consistently execute their game plan. Day in, day out.
It sets the pace.
Yeah, these teams are establishing themselves as pace setters. Sweeps like that send clear signals across the league. And, it can have a real psychological impact, too. Helps foster that winning culture inside the clubhouse.
And those classic rivalries. Yankees, Red Sox, Giants, Dodgers. You said it's more than the score.
Oh, absolutely. A game like that 2-1 Yankees-Red Sox battle, that's not just one game out of 162. It's like a new chapter in a story that's over 100 years old.
Wow.
These matchups are just soaked in history, regional pride, that kind of raw emotion that reminds you why baseball holds such a special place for so many people. The drama, the narrative, the feeling that one single moment could completely turn the tide.
Yeah.
It's all just dialed up in those games.
And those splits we saw, like the Reds and Tigers trading massive blowouts. What's the takeaway there?
That speaks directly to baseball's inherent parity. It's unpredictability.
Right.
You can have a huge victory one day, and then the very next day, boom, complete reversal of fortune. It really highlights the mental strength needed in this sport.
Being able to forget yesterday.
Exactly. Can a team compartmentalize, forget yesterday's loss, focus entirely on today's chance? It's that constant reminder. On any given day, any team really can beat any other team.
So all these individual results from just one day,
Yeah.
they aren't random noise. Over time, they start to build into larger trends that shape the season.
Precisely. Things like injuries, potential trade deadline buzz later on, managerial moves, players heating up or cooling down. They all play roles in how the season narrative unfolds. But the foundation for success, or sometimes those early warning signs of struggle, they're sown in games, just like the ones from yesterday. Those clutch hits, those diving catches that save runs, the big strikeouts.
They all add up.
They contribute not just to a win or loss that day, but to a team's identity, its trajectory over the whole marathon.
And that really brings it back to why following these daily breakdowns matters for you, the listener.
Yeah.
By looking closely at a packed day like yesterday, through the lens of the kind of analysis we've walked through, you get a rapid but still thorough understanding of the sport's dynamics.
Where teams really stand right now.
Yeah, and how that complex story of the season is actually developing day by day.
It's a way to quickly grasp the nuance, the strategy, the trends unfolding without getting totally overwhelmed by the sheer volume of games every single day.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into yesterday's baseball action, it's clear it was just a compelling mix of outcomes. Really shows off the dynamic nature of the sport.
Every day brings new storylines, new chances for teams to make their mark.
Ultimately, yesterday's games, like all baseball games really, are a testament to the enduring appeal of it all. America's pastime, right?
Yeah, it's a sport of nuance, of strategy, individual brilliance, but also collective team effort.
It's a marathon, definitely not a sprint. And each day just adds another layer to that intricate, compelling story.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? How will these specific wins and losses from yesterday, those dominant sweeps, those tight rivalry wins, those unpredictable splits, how will they shape the battles still to come?
Right. These daily results, they aren't just lines in a box score somewhere. They feel like the crucial building blocks in the season's bigger drama that's still unfolding.